Brittany with 4B Farms, and today we are actually in the kitchen and not in the garden. This will be my first video about canning, and I'm going to be canning some tomato paste, and I wanted to bring you along. Okay, so I have gotten all the cherry tomatoes. I have mixed cherry tomatoes, so I have my blueberry cherry tomatoes, I have my yellow pear cherry tomatoes, and the sweet 100s, and I just cook them all together. I can't tell a difference. It gives a great flavor once the paste is made, and we've eaten it before and we really like it. We can't tell the difference. So I use all different types of cherry tomatoes. I don't have an exact recipe that I use regarding how much onions or how much garlic or how many bay leaves I use. I just kind of guesstimate. I normally have put in like 1/4 of an onion with 1 baking sheet full of cherry tomatoes, with 1 clove of garlic in there, and then 2 bay leaves is what I've been doing. And I'll flip you around and show you after I've stirred all of the cherry tomatoes, the bay leaves, garlic, and onions, and then I've drizzled it with olive oil to make sure they're all coated, and I will show you what that looks like now. Okay, so as you can see here, I just have a big bowl of cherry tomatoes, different varieties, my bay leaves, garlic, and onions, and I just dumped that out onto some parchment paper and a baking sheet, and I just flatten them all out so they have plenty of room. So I flatten them all out, they have plenty of room to bake. Okay, so they're all laid out on the parchment paper. I have the oven ready at 375. I normally put them in the oven at 375 for about 45 minutes. I check on them periodically just to see if they are starting to split open and they look like they're starting to break down. And once all of them look like they're broken down, I go ahead and pull them out, and then I start straining them, and I'll show you how I do that. So I have this cone strainer, if you can see. I've just put all my tomatoes that have been in the oven into this, and then I'm going to just push them down and juice them. And I do this, I think it takes me probably 25 or 30 minutes before I get all of the juice out. Okay, so now that I am finished straining, I probably could do it a lot more and get more out of there, but I have another batch in the oven, so I need to start straining it. But I wanted to show you what it kind of looks like. If you can see that, mostly just peelings and seeds. The onions and garlic are still in there, and so I just strain and strain and push and push and push until I get enough juice out. And I will show you the next batch that I have in the oven, and I'll do the exact same thing to it. I also had some larger tomatoes left that I wanted to get rid of, so I also just cut those up, and I'm going to put those in the oven with the cherry tomatoes. Okay, so this is what the tomato juice will look like after it's strained. It is very runny, but we're going to cook it down, and I'll explain that process in just a second also. Okay, so this is what your tomatoes will look like once you get them out of the oven. They've been in there for about 45 minutes at 375, so they're cracked open. Everything looks real broken down. Okay, so once I get them out of the oven, I just use I remove the bay leaves because you don't want to strain those in there, and then I just use a spatula. I pick up the tomatoes and then I put them in the strainer. Okay, so while I am letting some of the cherry tomatoes that we just got out of the oven kind of cool down before I start straining them, I did already pour the other bowl of strained tomatoes paste or juice, it's just juice right now, into a pot on the stove, and it is simmering. And once I get all these done, I'll add it to that. While I am straining the tomatoes, I do have my jars and lids and everything boiling, so I'm getting them sterile while I strain the tomatoes, so that way when it comes ready to pour the tomato paste into the jars, everything will be ready. Okay, so I am using the Ball Blue Book preserving recipe for tomato paste. I'll show you that. Tomato paste. So I'm using this recipe to put them in the oven to bake. So it goes off by pounds of how many tomatoes, and I don't know how many pounds of tomatoes I have. So that's why I don't have a direct recipe on how much onions or bay leaves or garlic to put in mine, because I don't know how many pounds of tomatoes I do have. So I kind of wing it on that. I definitely taste it as it's cooking. And then I'll also follow the instructions on how to water bath can them. And I'll go over that later, but I follow the process from the Ball Book. What I do not follow the process or the recipe from the Ball Book is the tomato paste and how to cook it, because I add different ingredients instead of this recipe. Okay, so here I have the strained tomato juice simmering. I do bring it to a boil. I cook it for about 2 hours, and then while I'm cooking that, I also have my water bath can going. It is sterilizing all of my jars and lids and everything. I have my water bath going, boiling and sterilizing my lids and my jars and everything, and then the tomato sauce simmering. I get out all of the equipment I need to pick up the hot cans, and then I have my little wand. It has a little magnet on it so it picks it up out of the hot water, and then I have my funnel. I got this small little kit at Walmart. I'm sure you can find them pretty much anywhere. I know I've seen them at Walmart, the Dollar General, and I'm sure any big box stores have them. 2 can tomato paste is technically what this is called. You will need bottled lemon juice, or it says Ball citric acid. I don't have that. I just have this lemon juice. So I will have to be adding the lemon juice. I believe it is since I am using 1/2 pint jars, I have to use 1.5 teaspoons of bottled lemon juice before I pour in the paste. So all I do is once this is almost done simmering, I go ahead and get my jars out and put them to the side. I don't like to wait too long because the jars really need to be kind of warm when you put in that hot tomato paste. So it's kind of a quick few steps all together. So I make sure everything is in order and organized. So it's just get my warm jars out. I can put my funnel on there, funnel the sauce out. My juice is already in there, and then I can start tightening them hand tight. I also wanted to mention that you can cook your tomato paste for as long as you want to. The longer you cook it, the thicker it will get. I don't mind it being a little runny because I do not put all of my spices in there because when I do use them, I use them in different recipes. Some I use for soups, some I use for stews. I use for different recipes and like spaghetti and stuff, and all of those don't all taste the same. So I do like just kind of make the basics, and when it comes time to open them, then I'll add more ingredients to make it taste a little more Italian if we use it for spaghetti, or a little more garlic or something with different recipes. Okay, so I have gotten all of my jars and lids and all the tops out of the water bath. I put them over here. They are full with the lemon juice, and now I will be ladling into my hot jars full of lemon juice. Mention when I was filling the jars up with the tomato paste, you are supposed to leave a 1/2 inch headspace. I leave a little more just so the jar's not super full when I open them, but I wanted to mention that just in case you didn't know. Okay, since I have all of my cans filled, now I'm going to stick them in my little basket and put it in a water bath. Now, this is where the measurements come in handy. I did not have enough to make a whole jar of this, but that's okay. If I would have had a half pint clean, I would have just put it in that. Now, since I have my basket full, I will just be placing this down into my boiling water bath. Now the water is about an inch above the cans. Let me show you. Okay, so the water, I don't know if you can really tell, is about an inch and a half, 2 inches maybe, above all the cans. I did have to take out the smaller can because I did spill some. In a big old mess over there. But I had to take it out because it was floating up to the top and wouldn't stay down. So we'll just use that this week. We'll just put it in the refrigerator and use it this week. And it'll be just fine. But these jars are, the water's coming back to a boil. Per the ball book, it says to process half pint jars for 45 minutes and then turning off the heat and then let them sit for another 5 minutes. And then cool for 12 hours. So I'll just leave them on the counter all night. And then they will be ready to go in the pantry, and we will have fresh tomato paste. And I can put that in, I can make it thicker to make more of a tomato paste. I can put it in all kinds of soups and spaghettis. I can even make ketchup out of it, barbecue sauce. There's tons of things that I can use this for. That's why I don't put as many seasonings in it when I cook it, because I can just switch it up when I do use it. Well, I hope y'all really enjoyed this kind of impromptu how to make tomato paste with all of the tomatoes that we've been growing this year. This is my second season of canning, so I'm still a beginner. I'm still learning. So if I have missed out a step or you have any questions, please reach out. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'd love to help you. And I'd love to learn more. If you have any tips or anything I need to tweak the recipes, like I said, I use the Ball Blue Book Preserving, and it's been wonderful. I've used recipes from pickling cucumbers and pickling okra. I've used several recipes from this, and it's been really helpful. So I'm going to set my timer for 45 minutes and get those done so I can get them in the pantry and stocked up for the winter. But if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to our channel. It's super helpful. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and I'll talk to you soon.